evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. A funny thing happened to me the other day. I decided to give something back, help the community. So I joined a group called the Hertfordshire Good Neighbour Scheme. Now I was told that many of the people on the scheme were elderly and vulnerable, and some of them led chaotic lives. But nevertheless, they were in desperate need of the service and they were looking for volunteers like me. So I duly made my application, passed my training, passed my induction, and I got my first assignment. And it was to help a lonely old lady called Anne put up a flat-pack wardrobe from Argos.
Oh.
Now I can tell you right away, they got the wrong man to do the wrong thing. If you give me a hammer and a nail, you're essentially arming a man that doesn't have a clue what he's doing. I'm so potentially dangerous at that point that you should alert the army on a national scale. So I duly made this clear to my coordinator, Jan, at Hertfordshire Good Neighbours. No, she said, no, you'll be fine. Anne's lovely, you're lovely, all you want to do is just help someone, you're going to be fine. And do you know what? She really filled me with confidence. I thought, yes, all I want to do is help someone. I thought, this is right. So I said to Jan, you know what, I'm going to go round there now. And I got in the car, and I turned around, turned up at Anne's place, knocked on the door. And she answered it, funny enough. Anyway, to describe Anne to you, she was about that high, no hair, no teeth, dribbled and hot. And at the point of her opening the door, she was eating a peach. Well, she wasn't so much eating the peach, but she was sucking on it. And more of the peach was ending up outside of her mouth rather than inside. So she gestured to me to come in and follow her upstairs, which I did. So up the stairs and we went into her bedroom. Whereupon I found that Anne had already erected the wardrobe. But on closer inspection, I noticed the structure was seriously unstable, a bit like Anne. So Anne looked at me and she said, it's a bit rickety, isn't it? Is there anything you can do? I said, Anne, yes there is. I wanted to fill her with confidence. I wanted her to think she got the right man in. So I said, Anne, I've come up with my diagnosis. And the diagnosis is this. That wardrobe needs more screws in it. They told me you didn't have a clue. I said, that wardrobe needs more screws at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom. They were right. You definitely haven't got a clue. So I went to the wardrobe door, opened it to look inside to see where I drilled the holes to put the screws in. As I opened the door, the front door downstairs opened. So Anne shuffled out of the room to see who it was. All of a sudden she's rushed back in the room all agitated. She said, it's my husband Fred. And with that she tried to bundle me into the wardrobe. I said, get off me, stop touching me. So she said, no, you don't understand. It's my husband Fred, and he's just coming to the end of a very long sentence in a psychiatric unit. She said, yeah, and he won't be best pleased you're in the house, and he won't be best pleased you're in my bedroom. And with that, she tried to bundle me in the wardrobe again. I said, can you stop touching me? I don't like it. So with all this commotion, and Anne having a feel, Fred could hear all this, and he shouted up, he said, what's going on up there? And I heard him racing up the stairs. I thought, oh my goodness. So the bedroom door flung open. He said, who are you? I said, actually, good afternoon. I said, I'm Richard and I'm from Hertfordshire Good Neighbours. He said, they all say that. I said, do you mind? So he went running into the bedroom and picked up a hoover that was on the floor. I thought, that's a very strange thing to do. I mean, what a time to be doing the hoovering. I could see Anne had made a mess, but this was no time to be doing the hoovering. But it was by the time he picked up the hoover and got it to about that height, I realised that old Fred wanted to turn the hoover into a missile and throw it at me. He continued to raise the hoover till it was directly above his head. Whereupon there was another knock on the door. Now you're thinking at this point, this is not a true story. It gets worse. So Anne says to Fred, who's holding the hoover above his head, there's a knock on the door, Fred. You know who that is? No. She says, that's the police. Do you remember last time? Yes. Do you remember last time, Fred, they're coming to take you away now? I thought, yes. And he stood there for 2 seconds and he threw the hoover down on the floor and shot straight into the wardrobe and shut the door behind him. I couldn't believe it. So Anne says to me, you stay there, I'm going to get the police. So I'm just standing there thinking, am I in an unsafe situation here? So Anne goes down the stairs, answers the door, and I listen out, and I could tell she wasn't coming back up the stairs with the police. The bedroom door flung open. It was Jan from the Hertfordshire Good Neighbour Scheme. Hello, she said. Richard, how are you? I just thought I'd come in and see how you're doing. I thought, perfect. This is my best opportunity to tell her that Mad Fred, the local nutter, is now residing in the wardrobe. And just as I was about to, Anne interjected and said, everything's fine, isn't it, Richard? And I could see what was going on. Anne was trying to protect her husband. And I was also aware of the fact that Mad Fred was in the wardrobe, could listen to everything I was saying. So I went along with it. I said, everything's fine, Jan. She said, what? I said, everything's fine. She said, have you got a tick? I said, I've got a tick. She said, no, a friend of mine has just done an 8-week course clearing ticks out of people. I said, I haven't got a tick. Anyway, at that point, she presented herself at the wardrobe door. And she went to open it, and as she opened it, the wardrobe door came clean off its hinges and hit the floor. And out stepped Mad Fred. Well, I can tell you, you've never heard a scream like it. Oh, Jan screamed like a banshee. And when she called down, she turned round to the wardrobe and she said, who's that man? What's he doing in here? Whereupon, calm as you like, Fred said, I'm waiting for a bus. So I said, waiting for a bus? He said, yes, I'm waiting for a bus, and it's late, and I'm off. So I looked at Jan looked at me, and we looked at the wardrobe door that was on the floor. And with no sense of irony, Jan turned around to me and said, you haven't done a good job on that then, have you? I said, you know what, Jan? I've had enough. I'm getting on the bus with Fred. Thank you.